Hi family, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing great. And Zami Amuke La Zami Amuke La Zami Amke. So on today's video we will be discussing somewhat sensitive topics to some, obviously. And I will try by all means to keep these videos respectful. And yeah, just a disclaimer, okay? This video is based on my own personal experience. It is my story, and I believe it is my story to tell. And some of the experiences I'll talk about, it will be information that I've also gathered throughout the 2 years that I've been married, or even prior that, like preparing for marriage. Some of the stories that my friends, acquaintances, mentors, counselors and all of that have shared with me, and how to handle some of the situations. So I have not actually prepared for this video. I just wrote the questions down, so my response will be as raw as it comes, because I don't have a set answer, you know, if it makes sense. So these are some of the questions that newlyweds would ask me, people who are curious, people who are preparing for marriage and all of that. So these videos are also to assist people who are preparing for marriage. But with that said, that does not mean if I applied something, that particular something will work for you. It's just like studying. We don't all have the same studying method, if it makes sense. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first question is, 1 year later, what are the lessons you've learned? Okay, 1 year later, I've been married for almost 2 years. It will be 2 years in May. So what are the lessons that I've learned? Okay, so okay. I should have prepared for these questions, obviously, but okay, the first lesson I've learned is that you and your partner are a team. You are playing for the same team. You might not be playing the same position, if it makes sense. Like, just to give, I don't know if it's a good example because I'm not really into sports, but let's say for example we're part of the soccer team. You need the goalkeeper as much as you need the striker, if it makes sense, but their duties on the team are different. So I think understanding the person's strengths is very important, and be very considerate of another person. Like, you know how sometimes maybe in the team you might find that there are players that don't get along, which could be the truth about marriage. Like, there are times where you might not necessarily get along with your partner, but you're understanding that you have the same goal, which is to win the championships. In this case, you have the same goal to make this marriage work, you know. And I might not always agree with how the goalkeeper is doing his thing over there as a striker, and the goalkeeper might not agree with how I'm kicking the ball as a striker, you know, and all of that. But at the same time, if I am winning, it means the goalkeeper is winning. If the goalkeeper is winning, it means I'm winning, you know. If I'm losing, you know, he is also losing. So I think it's just finding common ground and knowing that you are playing for the same team. It's not a competition, because most of the time, just like in life, you know, you want to shine, you know, you might find that you want to shine, in a sense that now you start competing with your partner now, you know, and all of that. So just finding that common ground, knowing that, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and complement each other, you know. So that's very important. I think that is the greatest lesson I've learned, like knowing that we play for the same team. And then the second lesson that I've learned is that blocking out the noises, blocking out the naysayers. The one thing that most of us find out when we're venturing into this new institution of marriage, is that we'll find that there are a lot of people who have opinions, who will have opinions about a lot of things, about how you do things, about how you react, how, like, it can be finances, how you utilize your finances, how you family plan, and all these things. So blocking out the noises, like, and it should come from both of you to say that when it comes to our household, there are certain things that we will not accept, like certain advice that we will not accept, certain things that we know for sure will not work for us, you know. So I think it's also very important to know each other, you know. I mean, when you venture into this institution, especially if maybe you didn't live together and all of that, there are a lot of changes that happen, there are a lot of habits that you didn't know about your partner that you will start finding out about and all of that. But it is always knowing how to work on those things. If it's things that you can change, work on them and change them. But if it's things that you cannot change, the other party needs to try live with those things. I feel like, you know, for example, let's say my husband had an issue with me being opinionated and all of that. I don't think you can change that. I don't think you can change that. So he needs to learn how to live with that, you know. But there are certain things, like, for example, how I do things, or how my husband does things, that I can sort of live with. For example, I'll give you an example with my husband. My husband does not believe in making the bed, okay? He honestly does not believe in that, because what is the point, right? But those are things I believe in, because I feel like my day is more organized, more centered if I've made my bed. So those are things that, for example, I had to compromise, knowing that sometimes my husband, which actually works in my favor, because normally he's an early riser and I'm more of I'm not a morning person. I like sleeping in and all of that. So I'm the last person to wake up, so it's easy. But there are times where you might find that I actually, maybe, let's say, for example, when we used to go to church, when life was normal, okay? Well, life is normal now because it's our new normal. But because I serve a church, so normally I'd leave earlier for church. So you might find that he's the last one to wake up. Sometimes he tries, hey, he'll make the bed and all of that, but I think it's those type of things. I can live with that. I can live with the fact that he does not like making the bed, and I might have to do that. But you know, yeah, he can change his ways. I mean, okay. I hope these stories are making sense. But anyway, yeah, those are the two things that I've shared already. I'm not sure how many things I should share. Maybe let me share 3. So anyway, like I said, blocking out the naysayers. There are people who would want to meddle in your business. So blocking them out, letting them talk and have their 2 minutes of fame in terms of having opinions about your marriage, and then letting them be, and knowing that that particular thing will not be applicable to your institution. And then the third thing I've learned is that you don't need to share everything. You don't need to answer to everything, especially concerning our families. Remember, I'm from the Mabundes. He's from the Mabasas / Hlungwanis, right? So what you need to understand is that we were raised in 2 different, completely different families that do things differently, right? So you might find that maybe he's from a family that shares everything, like, hey, I'm busy with this, I'm doing that, you know. And I'm from a family that is very, very maybe discreet. We don't overshare because Nia lawyer, okay? Nia lawyer, okay? My lawyer, who are you? So maybe I come from a family that is very discreet. We don't overshare. We share what needs to be shared, right? And then maybe he's from a family that overshares. Do you get what I mean? When we meet as one, we need to now decide, are we oversharing or we are not sharers, or like what happens in this type of institution, right? So with us, from experience, it didn't come naturally, but from experience, I don't like sharing my business like naturally. I do not like people knowing my business, okay? I don't want people to know what my next move is. However, my husband is someone who loves sharing, right? So I remember having this conversation to say to him, for example, I was like, okay, this is not an example, it's a conversation that I actually had with my husband. I was like, okay, I'm okay with you sharing your business, all right? Your business, like in terms of what you're studying, what your plan is, what your business, how your business is doing, whatever. But don't share my business. I don't want people knowing, for example, how much I earn, what I do. Well, okay, what I do, it's easy. I can literally just say, this is what I do for a living. I work for this company. But I don't want people to know the nitty-gritties, like how much I earn, what I'm studying, and all of that. Like only my close circle can know that, but not the entire family. Because with Africans, like your entire family, it's your extended family, your cousins, your uncles, your third cousins, and everyone. So I don't want that. I don't like my business being shared. So my husband at first didn't really understand like what's with the secrets, right? Until his own family member betrayed him. Okay, I not betrayed him, but you find that he shared something in confidence with a family member, like someone who's actually an immediate family, and that particular person shared with someone else, and obviously when you're sharing private things, you wouldn't want other people to know about it. So that's when he realized that, okay, maybe sharing too much, it's not a good thing. So it's things that you need to decide. Like there are certain things that I can share with my mom. Like I'm giving an example with my mom because we're very close. I can share my personal things, like, yo, work is rough, I whatever, or yo, I'm really enjoying this new project at work, and whatever the case may be. But I will not be discussing my marriage with my mom. I'm sorry, no. There are boundaries there. I do not discuss my marriage with my parents, my family members, and all of that, in in a deep sense, like what goes down in the sanctuary or whatever. So yeah, I feel like you need to create boundaries. Hence I'm also reading this book. You need to create boundaries with people. Even if you love a person, it doesn't mean you have to overshare. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that you shouldn't share, but don't overshare. There are certain things you can keep to yourself and you can share when it happens, okay? But obviously you can share with family members if you want them to help you pray for a certain thing. Let's say maybe you're believing God for a job and whatnot. You can share that with people you trust. But with me, I need to trust you to the core, to the intestines, honey, before I can tell you my business, okay? Yeah, so basically that's the one thing that we have learned throughout our journey, that okay, maybe sharing or oversharing is not necessarily a good thing, and we're working on that. And yeah, we keep it like lately, by lately I mean for the past maybe 6 months or so, we've been keeping to ourselves when it comes to our business, bruh. Like we just keep it chair, okay? So, and last but not least, the one thing I want to share is that marriage is a form of worship, and the things you do in a marriage, including what happens in the sanctuary, is a form of worship. So praise and worship the Lord as often as you can, honey. Okay, so I'm just saying that my pastor, before we got married, was saying that you guys are best friends, and adult activities, it's part of worship. It's a form of worship to God and all of that. So do it as often as you can, and like whenever you have issues, like this is what he said. It was like, if you guys are having this huge argument that you've been having for a week and you have not resolved, and you come to church for counsel, the first thing he'll ask us is, have we worshipped? Right? So if we have not worshipped in the sanctuary, right, he will then say, go back to the sanctuary and worship the Lord. And if the problem is still not resolved after that, come back to me. You know, sometimes it's frustrations, man. Okay, so worship, praise and worship as often as you can. And I mean, okay, besides the adult activities, I mean, like in your daily life, you praise and worship God, you pray and all of that. And obviously, well, what was also important to us was having God as the center, okay, as the center of it all. So yeah, and now I feel like this video will go on forever, but I just keep on thinking of new things that have worked for us. I think the other important thing is have a couple that you look up to. Have those people you can use as your point of reference, the people who will bring you back towards yourself when you're going through a rough patch. You know, I don't necessarily believe in getting marital advice from someone who has never entered the institution, especially when it comes to certain things. I'm not saying they are not knowledgeable, or like, for example, I can give advice to someone who is maybe going through a divorce matter on a high level, if it makes sense, because it's not something that I've experienced. Like now, imagine me advising someone like, yeah, start dating within 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, I haven't gone through that. I don't know what psychologically they're going through when it comes to that process. So I don't necessarily now, I'm not saying I don't receive advice that I cherish from people who are not married, but I'm saying that I shy away from that, especially when it comes to deep marital issues. So if you're not married and you're telling me to beg a Zell, no, I'm not gonna take that, especially if you've never been married. I'm sorry, no. Okay, so I'm very selective in terms of who I get advice from. And it would be nice if, say for example, you have an opportunity to get close to an aunt who married into the same family, like your husband's family, that you can talk to in terms of her experience, how she dealt with certain things, because you might find that you go through more or less the same challenges. So how did she overcome them so that you don't have to work twice as hard? Yeah, that's if ref. But other than that, just loving on your partner, learning them every day, take it as an opportunity to learn something new about your partner. There's no easy way of doing this marriage thing, I believe. It's not always gloomy, and it is not always bright with roses and birds chirping. Like sometimes you will go through hurdles, but the nice thing about it is that you will overcome them, and knowing that you will overcome them with the love of your life, with your partner, is the greatest blessing, you know. So yeah, I've actually, a year later, I've been enjoying marriage, and I think now I've gotten into the rhythm of things. And obviously the first few months were a bit challenging, you know, learning certain things like sharing. Like for example, Mina, when it comes to sharing, especially like the blanket, I was not very good at that. You know, even sharing the bed, I was not very good at that, because I was single before. Single in a sense that I would sleep alone, you know. I never cohabitated with my partner and all of that. So sharing the bed was a challenge at first, but we eventually got to the hang of things. And yeah, I will speak on behalf of Mr. Mabas and say we are happily married. Oh, marriage is nice, guys. It's a beautiful institution. I enjoy it. I enjoy my partner. Like, he's my best friend. Like, honestly, the lockdown, I enjoyed it. Okay. So anyway, yeah, with that being said, family, I hope this video makes sense. I hope this video will have one or two take home points for newlyweds or people who are already in the institution and are dealing with certain things, how to maybe sort of kind of handle it. And yeah, so with that being said, please no kombela ka. Please subscribe to my channel, please like the video, and please share. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their friend to come visit our YouTube channel. And thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed, who has given me a chance to give my 2 cents opinion and all of that. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Yay! With that being said, family, we've come to the end of the video. May love, peace, and grace be unto you. Bye. Mwah.